but it starts with you understanding that as an artist, you are not just an artist, you are a brand. If you fail to maintain that image of the brand, you will not be able to make it as an artist, I promise you. You can have the best fucking music in the world, but if you don't understand what it's like to actually be and operate as a brand, you are not going to succeed.
Okay guys, I'm sitting here editing and I realized that the lighting was constantly changing because of the overcast that we had today in Austin. So I apologize, the color grade's a little weird, the lighting's a little weird. Just doing my best, kind of color grading at some points it make it a little too dark or too light, and it was very humid, so it's a little foggy too. I did the best I could. I'll definitely improve the quality in the future, but the message is there. Enjoy.
During South by Southwest, which is I'm in Austin, Texas, it was just the other month. I went to a panel that was hosted by Rolling Loud and one of the co-founders of Rolling Loud, Tariq, Cherif, as well as it was the manager for J. Cole, and there's a couple other people that I don't remember exactly, but very, very beneficial panel, especially if you're trying to work your way into the music industry. And I took some notes, so I'm going to run over the notes that were very important, stood out to me, and hopefully you could take something from it as well. So, as an artist, you need to walk in the room and own that shit. You have to give off the superstar vibe in every room, with or without the jewelry. It's about the poise. It's about the way you carry yourself, the way that you talk, the way that you interact with people. People should know you're a superstar without having to ask you. You have to be authentic to who you are and what your image is. Body language is a big thing for this, man. So making sure that you've spent time developing your image and understanding the values that you stand for as an artist, that way you can implement those in the image that you put out to the world. It's way easier with a team. This is the photographer, the videographer, the producer, the graphic designer, the manager, XYZ, the list goes on. It's easier if you have a team, and I personally can attest to this. When you have a team around you that you can build with, it's way easier, and a lot of things start to amplify a lot quicker. When you're constantly just trying to do things on your own, or you don't have all the pieces put together, it's a lot harder. When you find a photographer who's trying to make a name for himself, who's still early on and is willing to work for free, that's gonna work in your favor a lot. And I'll tell you, I was somebody who did that. I was a photographer and videographer who worked for free trying to make a name for myself, trying to get myself out there. So if you can do the same thing and understand the benefits that will have, you'll be amazed. Build with a team. It's way easier with a team. Establish and build your brand from the ground up. People are gonna join on over time, and the old fans are gonna talk about back then. So back then, I remember when this person had this many views. I remember when I saw their music video and da-da-da. I remember when I saw them in concert and I was in the front row because they didn't have any fans. People are gonna talk about those moments. As you continue to build on this story over time, people are gonna connect with you and ride with you from the ground up. This is why TikTok is important. This is why telling your story is important. I know that y'all have photos and videos in your camera roll or your Snapchat memories of you in the studio, or maybe you're in a closet, you got a microphone with a sock on it. I know you have a story, okay? You have to tell that story because that will encourage people to join you, and they're gonna feel like they've seen the progress from the ground up. And as you get more people, they're gonna be with you the whole time that process is building, okay? Don't chase, attract. Keep putting in the work. You can chase and chase and chase. I want a record deal. I wanna go and play in an arena. You can't just keep chasing those things. You need to attract them. How do you attract them? By putting in the work, building yourself, building your brand, working on your music, working on your connections, okay? All these things build in and help add into who you are as an artist and who you are as a brand. So keep putting in the work and it'll lead you to the next level. Man, this is a big one. It's cool to leave money on the table sometimes. The money will come. If you don't have that intuition in yourself, you may need to find something else to do. It may not be for you. So Tariq, the co-founder of Rolling Loud, talks about how he was broke for a long time. And you have to keep focusing on your vision. And as you're trying to pay your bills and make things happen, he was selling little posters he made, little graphic design flyers, just doing that. For me, I've been doing photo shoots, or I would do music videos, or maybe I'd help somebody make some sort of content. There's different ways that you could do, and I was talking with a mentor of mine, the low-hanging fruit. What are the low-hanging fruit for you that are easy, that you could grab onto and just make the money, you know what I'm saying? Make the money to pay the bills, to keep the dream alive. That's what it's about, okay? You don't have to make $1 million overnight. You don't have to make $1 million this year, but you have to be able to survive and make sure that you're steadily putting in effort and time and money and energy into the main goal of the future. So keep that in mind. You have to define your music and hone in on your identity. And this goes back to what I said earlier about being authentic to who you are and your image, right? So You have to define who you are and what you stand for, and make sure that you're staying true to that identity. Nobody can really tell you what that is. You have to be the one who can define that for yourself. It takes time. It takes having, back to what I said earlier, a team around you. You need to have somebody, maybe it's a couple people, maybe it's one close friend who can give you real advice, who's not afraid to take the filter off, and they're going to be real with you. They're not going to be a dick, okay? They're going to be cool. They're not going to try and intentionally say things to hurt your feelings, but they're saying things in your best interest because they see you at that superstar level, and they see you moving to that next stage. That's how I was with the artists I'm managing now. It started as me just being the homie who gave them real ass advice. Hey man, what does that bar mean? Does that really have value? Is that really something that you stand for? Okay, it's not. Let's change that, okay? Hey, I noticed you posted this thing. That doesn't really relate to who you are as a brand or who you are as a person. Why'd you do that, right? And make them question, make them think about it, okay? So that was from my manager's standpoint, but if you're an artist, you need to make sure that you're honing in on your identity and making sure you're holding yourself accountable to maintaining that image and that identity. So, a big thing Tariq talked about, and something I talk about a lot too, which is how I know I'm on the right track with my intuition, is brands like Nabisco and brands like Coca-Cola are just brands. The same way that J. Cole and Travis Scott and Drake and Jay-Z, they're all just brands, okay? They're all brands. You have to work on building your community over time, okay? When you're building a brand, it starts with that ground zero, that first day, that day one, right? And this goes back to earlier what I'm talking about, establishing and building your brand from the ground up. Do you see how much interconnection there is here? A lot of it really coincides with itself, okay? But brands like Nabisco, it's a big-ass brand, okay? The same way J. Cole is a big-ass brand, okay? See yourself as that big-ass brand. See yourself as that superstar and operate as such, okay? You have to hold yourself to a certain level that you are going to, that's the brand that you're going to put out. That's the image you're going to put out. Do you have your LLC? Have you worked on building your infrastructure for your brand, okay? There's a lot of things that you can tap into later, but it starts with you understanding that as an artist, you are not just an artist, you are a brand. If you fail to maintain that image of the brand, you will not be able to make it as an artist, I promise you. You can have the best fucking music in the world, but if you don't understand what it's like to actually be and operate as a brand, you are not going to succeed. Everyone, and I mean everyone, starts at 0 followers. Exactly what I was saying with build your community over time and start from the ground up. Everyone starts with 0 followers. Everyone starts from the ground up. Everyone starts with getting no plays. Everyone starts with getting their first 100 views on a music video. You're not gonna get 1 million views overnight. Even if you fucking blow up on TikTok, guess what? You don't wanna blow up on TikTok. You do wanna do well on TikTok over time and build that community. What do we say here? Build a community over time, okay? If you just blow up, you're gonna fall down the exact same way you came up, okay? It's gonna be super fast. You're gonna be over like that. We see it all the time, man. You can list them out. You don't even need my help to list them out. But you see people the superstars who rise, superstars. They're not superstars, okay? Because they rise and fall overnight. That's not what you want to be. You want to have longevity as an artist. How do you do that? How do you have longevity as an artist? You have a solid brand image that you're maintaining, and you're talking about real, authentic things. Authentic to you, authentic to the world that people can connect with. That's how you win. You're gonna have to play small rooms to build. You're not gonna be able to play this big fucking video. Like if you're in Austin, right? We got Stubbs, these bigger venues, ACL Live, even ACL. Of course everyone wants to play those. Everyone wants to play at Rolling Loud. Everyone wants to sell out Madison Square Garden. It takes time to build there. If you look at pictures of everyone who's recently been going crazy, Jack Harlow, even Russ as well, like showing pictures of when they really started. And Russ has a bar. I remember only selling like 6 tickets, right? You're gonna have those moments when you don't have very many fans, but the fans that are rocking with you, man, nurture the fuck out of those. Tell every one of them you appreciate them. Build that community, engage with them. That's how you're gonna win there, okay? You need, this is a big thing I've been trying to get my team on too. You need to work out as an artist. Your physical look, how do you look physically? Do you have a frame that people are gonna take seriously? Your performance on stage, if you have a 60-minute, a 90-minute set, do you have the cardio to be able to withstand that and make sure that you're actually being able to sing your notes at a proper energy level and making sure that you're not dragging out and you're having to skip your words because you're wheezing and breathing for air? No, cannot do that, okay? You need to make sure that you're working out, and this goes into a lot of other areas of your life, but working out is so crucial for developing your look. So this is something J. Cole says, right? Continue to bet on yourself. The Dollar and the Dream tour, he had $1 tickets. All you had to do was pay $1 and you got into the tour. He lost money on that tour. Like I was saying, J. Cole's manager was at the panel. He was talking about how J. Cole lost money on that tour. But that tour built a substantial base for him, a substantial foundation that he was able to build off of and grow off of. And it takes you believing in yourself. You're gonna have times when you're not gonna make the money back. Start small and build over time. You're gonna play different size rooms on tour. And this is something that they talk about in the All You Need to Know About the Music Business book by Donald S. Passman. You may be somebody who's an opener for a larger artist, okay? You may be somebody you're opening up for T-Pain or J. Cole, whatever it may be, okay? But when you're opening up for some of these larger artists, and maybe they're even a mid-tier artist, you're probably gonna have people who have their backs turned toward you. They're not gonna be looking at you. They're not gonna be paying attention. They're on their phone. They're talking to their friends. Their literally back is turned, not paying attention to you on stage, okay? So when that happens, it's a character building moment. Just know that's gonna happen. Early on in your career, that's going to happen, and that's okay. Use that as an opportunity to work on your crowd engagement and your crowd control and your stage presence. Those are all opportunities for you to build and improve. Practice, 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 okay? The more stages you can get on, the better, okay? Let people go when they're not fueling the growth. Man, I have lost so many people in this journey of working in the music and the content industry, and even just through my self-improvement journey of bettering myself. You're gonna have to cut off the leaves that are dead, okay? Because otherwise the water's gonna keep going there and it's not gonna feed the right places that need to grow and that are trying to grow, okay? You have to be able to know when somebody's not benefiting you and when you need to cut them off for your growth. Sometimes you need to be stingy, and you need to be stingy of your energy and where you're letting that go. And it goes into another video I just filmed talking about it, but you have to be able to be stingy with your energy and change the habits so that you have the time and energy to put into the things that will matter. If you're the artist, what matters? You going to the studio and planning your music videos and working on your brand on social media and reaching out to companies for sponsors. These are all things that matter, okay? But it takes you letting go of the people that are not fueling that growth and getting you to that next level, okay? As a manager, your whole focus has to be on the artist and wanting them to win. Man, every single day I'm checking up with the artist, and sometimes I'm not the one who reach out. Sometimes the artists are the one to reach out to me. But every single day, making sure you're touching base with the artist. And even if you're not touching base, making sure that you're actively doing things in your role as a manager where you are thinking about ways to improve what's going on, whether that's you're planning out a release for a brand new song or album, whether you're talking, like I have a little bit more of a creative side with music videos and stuff, but maybe you're reaching out to videographers, planning out a music video, or maybe you're thinking about the next sponsorship we could potentially have that correlates to the brand. There are a lot of things to think about there, okay? Your whole focus has to be on them winning and making sure that every decision that you make is towards getting them closer to that superstar level that we all want to get to, okay? Your team needs to be transparent. Man, I cannot iterate this enough. And it's something that they talk about in the All You Need to Know About the Music Business book by Donald S. Passman. I mentioned it earlier. You have to have conversations early on with your team if there's an issue that arises, if there's an issue that comes up, if there's any sort of conflict, and maybe it's friction that is one-sided, right? Maybe I feel some type of way. Man, I'm very sweaty right now. It's extremely humid out here. Austin, Texas is usually not this humid, but bear with me. If you don't have those conversations early on, they will fester and fester and fester and build and grow to be something that it wasn't even in the first place, okay? So how do you avoid that? You be transparent. You have to tell the truth at all times. You make sure that you have no yes men around you. A yes man is not your friend. A yes man is not gonna help you. A yes man is not gonna take you to the next level. You need to have people who are honest, who will give you real critique, and who want to see you succeed to the next level. They're not just there because they think that you're gonna take them with them. Right? If somebody is just, oh yeah, that's lit, that's super dope, just because they want to ride with you and they want to piggyback off what you're doing, cut them off, man. They cannot come with. These are tough but necessary conversations. They're not going to be easy. They're going to make you uncomfortable. Have them. Just have them. The same way if you're negotiating money, it may be a little weird to just bring up the money, but the second you do, you feel more mental clarity. You feel better about what's going on because you've addressed the issue at hand, okay? Don't stress yourself out. Don't stress your team out, okay? You need to build with the team by having these conversations, and through having these tough conversations, your team is going to trust you more. They're going to have a better connection with you. They're going to believe in you more. You're going to believe in them more. Your communication level is going to be a lot greater. You're going to be able to be honest about things outside of just the music. It is crucial to have those tough but necessary conversations, okay? It all starts with the music at the end of the day, and this is something I'm big on, which is why I made the Hip Hop Hall of Fame and why I'm even managing the artist as it is because I believe in the music so much. The music is what drives me, is what inspires me, okay? So, starting with the music, it has to be real, it has to be authentic to you and who you are. People can tell when you're not being real. People can tell when you're not being the person that you need to be, okay? People can tell when you're trying to be somebody you're not. We all know the person who has the face tats, who does the drugs, whatever, and is trying to fit this like gang aesthetic that's not them. They're reaching for something. Man, cut that shit out. Be real to yourself. If you're broke and you're struggling and you like, talk about that, okay? If you grew up in the hood and that's where you like what you came from, talk about that, okay? If you are constantly coming up, or like you came up with the suburbs, right? Some of the people I work with came up with the suburbs, had a pretty good childhood. They had their own challenges though, okay? They had their own challenges, people doubting them, whatever that is. Everyone is going to have their own story. You have to be authentic to who you are because people are going to relate to you being authentic, okay? Your team has to have value in all aspects. You have to appreciate and respect your team, okay? You can't just value the music. You can't just value the conversation. You have to value all of it, okay? And it's important that you're appreciating those moments. You're being present. And how do you be more present? You're meditating. You're being grateful. You're doing your gratitude journaling. And these moments are going to allow you to bond more with your team. You're more appreciative. You're more grateful. The bond you build with your team, the stronger that gets, the stronger y'all get as a team. As a whole, the more you could do, the more the more places you could go, the more roads you can pave, okay? Early on, and this is from a manager thing, early on the manager is gonna do it all, okay? You're gonna have to carry the merch to go get it printed. You're gonna have to be driving the van on tours. You're gonna be the one booking the tours. You have to own that responsibility. You can't have an ego, okay? There's a lot of responsibility, especially in the position I'm in. I'm managing 4 different artists, okay? That's not an easy task. It's 4 different people, 4 different brands, 4 different images, 4 different types of music, okay? You have to make sure that you're being consistent with the things that you're doing and you don't get an ego early on. If you get an ego early on, you're done for. You are done for, and that personally, in my opinion, that's personally why I think Austin has yet to succeed in the music industry is there's too many egos. There's too many people who think they've already made it. There's too many people who think they've already established themselves to a certain level, and they haven't, okay? So, as a manager, you can't have the ego. As an artist, you can't have an ego, okay? It's gonna take time to build. Have that superstar poise that we talked about at the very beginning. Have that superstar poise, okay? But drop the ego. Drop the ego. Be real. Be a real person, okay? Another thing for the manager is not the artist. You have to be able to separate those things. As the manager, I'm doing a lot more of the business kind of behind the scenes, making sure the brand is operating properly, but I'm not the one making the music, okay? I can give input here and there, tell them what songs I think we should record next, or maybe they want to input on a bar. Is this a good bar? Does this fit here? You can give those things if they're asked for it, right? But you're not the one making the music, okay? You need to make sure that you keep that in mind and that you're just focusing on the brand and building the brand. Take that stress away from them. That's your job as a manager. Take that stress of building the business and building the brand, because as an artist, you are a brand, you are a business. Take that stress away as the manager and let the artist be the artist. Let the artist create, okay? This goes back to what I was saying earlier. You don't want to blow up on TikTok. Don't let virality define success. If you're waiting for that pop moment where you're just going to blow up and you're going to get 1 million views on TikTok and your music video did the first however many streams, right? Don't let that virality, sorry, I'm very humid, I'm still sweating. Don't let that virality define success. You want to build over time. You're going to have low views. You're going to have low comments. You're going to have just 1 or 2 people who are reaching out to you in the DMs. Nurture that. Nurture that community. Build that community. Continue to build. If you're making content, try different styles of content. Try different things out. That way you can understand what works. You find something that works, keep running with it, okay? But don't let your virality define your success. A lot of people get so caught up with the numbers, they're not actually focused on the product. If you keep your focus as an artist on the music and as a manager on the content, right, and the actual value you're providing, you will see more success. So don't focus on virality. Focus on making the good content, making the good music, and you'll see yourself win. So that's all I have from the Rolling Loud panel. I'm sure I'll do more stuff like this. But comment if you have any questions.
So, from Austin, currently working as a manager. I manage 4 artists and also throw my own shows. We just threw our first show called the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. It's a great success. I know there's a lot of work that needs to be built to establish a foundation further, but for when it comes time to go on tour, what advice would you recommend touring outside of just the city?
I would say keep going locally a little bit and while you're doing your local stuff, apportion some of your day to be doing like online marketing, to be networking with people that are in different cities, and get to fucking LA, and get to New York, and get to Chicago, and get to Miami. You get to like those 4 cities right now, and if you can get to overseas, fucking amazing, right? But you just start with, and you don't even gotta do Miami or Chicago right now. If you can just get to LA, New York not even so much right now, but get to LA and New York right now and meet with people. If you have a concrete thing that you could say, hey, my artist sold out this show in Austin, this many people, right? That's a snippet that it turns that cold DM or that cold email into actually like a reason for why I should read it, right? So instead of being like, hey, pay attention to me for no reason, here's a link. Like, no, here's a concrete reason I did this thing. This video got this many views, this many comments, or I sold this many tickets. Like, give them that concrete thing and you'll start building relationships outside of your city.